I really thought it was about high time that we covered this one. It's been on my list for a long time. I'm sure the majority of us have all had a time in our life where we've binge read creepypastas, being creeped out by hundreds of stories, checking out the individual subcategories on the creepypasta wiki, like Not Safe for Work, my favourite creepypasta section, video game and TV show horror stories, also a great subcategory, and well-known classics like Jeff the Killer and Smile Dog. God, I feel 14 again just saying those names. But don't worry, I'm not going to rot your brain with creepypasta lore today. Today's video is based on an incident that happened because of a creepypasta. Now, before we get started, obviously this wasn't the creepypasta story creators' fault at all. They had absolutely nothing to do with it. So with that in mind, their alias or names won't be mentioned at all throughout this video. Slender Man, a tall white entity with no face. I will assume that most of you know who, or rather what, Slender Man is. There have been games, a terrible movie, and God forbid, fan art. Some of it very strange. Now, while all of this is quite impressive for something that was conjured up by just one person, the Slender Man story in particular has a more disturbing and darker side to it. We know, as adults, that stories of this nature are quite obviously fake. Some well-written ones, like Jeff the Killer, or specifically for me, internet-based stories like Normal Porn for Normal People or 4mealsoftheday.net, did creep me out the first time that I ever read these, going back years ago. But today's story is more than just a creepypasta. It's more than just a fake, tall man kidnapping kids. This is the story of the Slender Man stabbing. Now, even though this sounds horrific, which it is, I'll go straight to the point to begin with, and say that the person who received the stabbing did in fact survive, fortunately. So there's no instance of death within this video. 10 years ago, on the 31st of May 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, USA, two 12-year-old girls stabbed their friend, Peyton Leutner, following a sleepover party. Peyton was stabbed 19 times. The two girls, whose names were written publicly about in various articles everywhere, are now respectively 22 years old at the time. These girls are Anissa Via and Morgan Geyser. Apologies if I pronounced them both dreadfully wrong. This basically started off because you could say that both Anissa and Morgan were socially isolated until Peyton stepped into their lives. It was around this same time that Anissa was introduced to the world of creepypasta, in which, in time, she'd become completely infatuated with this character, who was none other than Slender Man, a character made for a Photoshop contest. Morgan would soon follow suit in this obsession, not only being infatuated with the character, but also claiming that she had private telepathic conversations with him. This would soon lead into the two girls stabbing Peyton for Slender Man. Now the time would come on Morgan's 12th birthday where all three of the girls would gather at Morgan's house, not before spending the day at a roller skating rink, sleeping over and then having some breakfast the next morning. They would then proceed to go outside to play, in which Morgan would snatch a knife from her kitchen. This is when Peyton would receive the stabbings in a wood, being stabbed 19 times. Once the deed was done, the two girls would make their way to a local Walmart, in which the police would soon find them sitting on the grass near a interstate. Their plans were to walk to Slender Man's mansion, which is made up, of course, which they believed was in the Nicollet National Forest in North Wisconsin. Now, Anissa told the police that Morgan had convinced her to kill Peyton, as Morgan had made it sound and seem like the killing or the stabbing was absolutely necessary, in which they held this secret plot between each other for months. Despite their age at the time, they would be charged in an adult court. After a kill or be killed belief was rejected by the case judge, Anissa was sentenced to 25 years in a mental institute, whereas Morgan would be given a 40-year sentence. Morgan was diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia, an illness that her father also suffered from. The charges would be for attempted first-degree homicide. Anissa was released from this facility in 2021. However, it was stated that she would still be supervised until she was 37 years old. This was a thing until 2023, when the judge decided to remove her tracking system altogether, meaning she's now basically a free woman. So why did they do it? Well, to impress Slender Man, so that he wouldn't kill their families, of course. Oh, and so that they also became his servants. Peyton fortunately survived and was found by a cyclist after crawling out of the woods looking for help. After the attack, Peyton would undergo multiple surgeries. Surgeries to repair her heart, liver, stomach and pancreas. The attack left her with 25 scars and emotional trauma, sleeping with broken scissors under her pillow as a means of self-protection. In an interview for ABC News, she stated that the attack didn't initially hurt because of the shock factor, and she just got up and walked to a safer location until she was found. She's still doing well today. So in conclusion, this just shows really how gullible people can be, especially young kids. Now of course Morgan did have schizophrenia, but that probably wasn't helped by the introduction of Slenderman and Creepypasta stories. I mean, some of these creepypastas could be quite convincing. I mean, Smile Dog certainly had me thinking that I was cursed for quite a while. I mean, it even popped up in my dreams once or twice. Obviously, this is no excuse to go out and stab somebody. And that's all I've really got to say about the Slender Man stabbing. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Internet-based stories like normal porn for normal people or 4mealsoftheday.net did, despite their age at the time, they would be charged in an adult court after a kill or Morgan with fuck me. Sounded Irish then. Fuck me. However, it was still it even popped up in my dreams from time to time. It was fucking twice, you dickhead.